This video is made for adult collectors because Ultra Magnus can't reach anything. Wait, that's not right. Kinda an Ultra Magnus-y time, eh? Oh, I said A again, didn't I? Anyways, this is Ultra Magnus from Prime, not that one. Yeah, this is what he looked like before they decided to go with a more Optimus Prime look with the shoulder stacks, which I prefer over this version. But this design did get a couple of toys back in the day, and it's worth checking out because it's definitely interesting. Not the greatest toy of Ultra Magnus out there, if I'm honest, but it's far from the worst. And of note, this is the Japanese Arms Micron version, so instead of paint deco, it has foil stickers, and instead of the epic light up hammer, he comes with a minicon type dude that turns into a hammer. That's neat. I'm not the biggest fan of the blue when compared to the Hasbro version. I think that one's deco is superior to this guy. But that being said, this isn't a horrible blue either. I still like it. And I love the stylization of the Prime design. And while he wasn't... That's how you speak English. And while he wasn't... Oh man, I need help. And while he wasn't in the show like this toy still does a good job at capturing those specific Prime-y styles, like the thinner thighs, bulkier lower legs, the shaping of the detail, slightly larger hands, and the build nature of the torso. I really like the way they do the Magnus shoulder pads here by using the front of the truck and then the missiles sticking out. I think that's cool. I do wish the missiles could rotate forward independently though, so they could like fire. That'd be neat. And the torso looking like the upper front half of the truck, with even if it is fake bits. And he also's got tires up there, but they're done in clear and they're kind of hard to see unless someone points it out to you, because I didn't notice them when I first bought it. Head sculpt is nice. It really does look like the show Magnus, with the most subtle of differences, but it captures that look well enough. I dig it. The shoulders on my copy have a tendency to unpeg, which is kind of scary given that they're on 2012 clear plastic and it has to clip on to that. But I haven't had any problems yet, so we're good so far. Now I want to show you the amazing range of the shoulders. Ready? Yeah, that's it. I don't know why there isn't a cut here or like a hinge in the middle for like this very long armature. But that is, his shoulders are so awkward to use. You have to like finagle them around to get them to work properly, and even then it doesn't look the greatest. His hammer bro, Ulma, that sounds like a bionicle name, is weird. His transformation is fine, and his robot can't do anything, but it reminds me a lot of like Thor's hammer in hammer mode with how short the handle is. So 2012 toy equals 2012 articulation. Well, 2012 era toy equals 2012 era articulation. Was this toy released in 2012? I'm going to fact check myself before we do that. So let's go TF Wiki. TF Wiki. We're going to go Ultra Magnus. We're doing this live. Ultra Magnus from Aligned. We're going to go to... Where's toys? There it is. Toys. Robots in disguise. 2012. Haha, I was correct. 2012. So 2012 era toy with 2012 era articulation. The head is on a ball joint, but the ball joint's in the torso, not in his head. But I mean, it accomplishes the same thing. It can, you know, wiggle, waggle, tilt. You can look left and right. His chin kind of stops him from going any further than that, but like, do you need him to go any further, to be completely honest? It is in a clear plastic ball socket though, so try not to take the head out, because you know, 2012 clear plastic is known for just disintegrating if you stare at it wrong. The shoulders, as I mentioned earlier, they're on ball joints. They can do a full 360. They can only go out that far. I've looked at everything. I don't think it goes any further than that. They do also have like this thing, and if you want to unpeg it, you can get butterfly joints, but then you have to peg it back into clear plastic, and that's not fun. Bicep rotation, ratcheted elbows, which are clear ratchets. That's kind of scary. And then this. You probably noticed this coming out every once in a while during the video. Yeah, these don't actually, like, they have a space, a little like clip thing right there that's supposed to hug this, but it doesn't stay in place. It just comes out. It's really annoying, these arm panels. The wrists are on ball joints. They can wiggle, but they can swivel, so they can do all that sort of stuff, which is cool. He does have a waist joint as well, and the backpack does not get in the way of that because the backpack does move a little bit, even when it is pegged in. The hips can go forward that far. They can go back about that far. They can go out. You have thigh rotation, 90-degree knee bend that doesn't really accomplish much because it doesn't lift the leg high off the ground as much as I would like due to how long his shin is. And then his toes go down. But that's all he does. He doesn't do much. And because of that, you can really only get him in good poses if he's like squatting a bit. And then you have to make sure you get the arms in like some dynamic sort of backwards or upwards motion because they can't go out. So getting him to look interesting in a pose is a bit difficult to do sometimes. He just kind of looks a bit awkward. So that's the robot, the original form of Ultra Magnus. He looks cool, but is functionally all right. Now truck time. The transformation is simple yet effective and kind of interesting, a little satisfying to do. It's nice, I like it. So to start with, we're going to fold up the toes. Then you are going to fold out these panels here. Get it unpegged, there we go. And then fold these down and peg them in. Now the box art, or the stock images I believe, they have him looking like this, with the wheels here, and so does one of the like trading card games or something has them here. I kind of like that look a bit more. That's how I'm going to be displaying it, is with the wheels down like this, because I think that looks nicer. But anyways, you want to then fold out these little things out at the back here. These are going to be the attachment points for the hammer, the old one. It doesn't super work with this, but yeah, I'll show that later. Then you peg the legs together like so, and then you bring the legs down so that he kind of looks like he's sitting in a chair. Then you want to bring these flaps out and then fold the hands in, and then this will just swing around like that to form the side of the truck. And the hands they just like sort of fit in their own little cavity, and they go in at a very slight angle. So you got to make sure you get that angle right. Then you unpeg the shoulders, bring the top of the truck down and over his head, there we go, while also bringing the shoulders in, and you sort of get them all situated properly here so that these little things can go inside the truck front, fold down the actual grill, peg it all together, and then just solidify and squish the alt mode into place. Now this right here, this is where the old hammer would sort of sit as like a crane arm thing. This has these 2 points sticking out, so I thought, oh, it's supposed to, no, it doesn't work. You can do this, sort of. It doesn't actually stay, but these are 5mm, so you can take the hammer and just like plug it in that way. That's how I do it. Or you could plug it in on the side. You could do all sorts of things, but the actual storage method from the original hammer doesn't really work. So what I tend to do is just leave those folded in, because it doesn't really matter that much, and it makes the truck mode look a lot cleaner. I was editing and I forgot to mention that this is technically the official way to store the hammer, is to just peg it into this one thing here, and so the other one's kind of empty. But yeah, that's one way to do it as well, is you can do it like that. Whoa! Okay, I'm going back to editing now, bye. That is actually a neat truck. I like it a lot. The red roof, the stripe down the side, the shape of it overall. It's a type of truck we don't see too often in Transformers, and I think it looks cool, and it's solid. Nothing feels like it wants to fall off or out. Everything pegs together super well. Underneath, he looks like a kid who's trying to be a Transformer, but oh, it's okay, let them pretend. The hammer, like I said, has multiple 5mm pegs, so it can store all over the truck. And if you had the old Magnus hammer, it is still compatible with this version too, which is very cool. But should you dive into this? Well, if you want a Prime Magnus, there is an accurate one out there, like the Transformers Go one, for example. But this one isn't that expensive, so if you can find it for like 20 or so, that's how much I paid for this, then yeah, I'd say go for it. I do prefer the Hasbro one though over this, because the darker blue is more show accurate to the blue he ended up being, and everything's painted on, it's not foil sticker, so it doesn't look flaky. And he's got that big, cool mech tech weapon hammer. I would recommend that one more than this. But the fact that you can get the arms micron for about the same as the Prime one is really cool. And one thing I didn't touch on is the plastic quality. It doesn't feel like it's worth more than 20 bucks plastic-wise. It feels very thin and hollow. So you got to keep that in mind, especially that clear stuff. Please be careful. But that's been my look at Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise, or PRID as it was called back in the day. Ultra Magnus. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.